So what if the biggest threat to our health wasn't some new supervirus, but what's for dinner tonight? In this explainer, we're digging into the real hidden cost of our food, and we're being guided by an author who has spent over 40 years in the world of food and nutrition. Let's get right into it.
You know, we've all heard that saying a million times, right? You are what you eat. And it makes sense, but let's take it one step deeper. What was your food eating? Or, maybe more importantly, what was it being given? What was keeping it alive before it ever got to your plate? Okay, let's start with a number, 1.3 million. Right now, that's how many people die every single year around the world from infections that our drugs can't fight anymore. Just to put that into perspective, that's already more deaths than from HIV/AIDS. And honestly, that's just where the story begins. Because if we keep going the way we are, by 2050, that number is projected to explode to a staggering 10 million deaths every single year. That would make antibiotic resistance the #1 cause of death on the planet. Yep, more than cancer. So what on earth does this have to do with your weekly food shop? Well, the argument here is that this global health crisis isn't some abstract thing happening far away. It's happening right in front of us, in plain sight. And it's directly tied to the food we put on our tables every day.
Now get a load of this, because it's pretty shocking. A massive 73% of all of the medically important antibiotics sold on Earth, the ones we really need to work when we get sick, they're not even for people. They're for farm animals.
And to understand why, we really need to take a look inside what you might call the industrial meat machine. We're going to use Smithfield Foods as our case study here. They're the biggest pork producer in the world, and they pretty much wrote the rulebook for the kind of farming that now dominates the globe.
And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, this is not your friendly local farm. We're talking about a system built to process tens of thousands of animals a day in just one factory. But that kind of hyper-efficiency, well, it comes at a huge biological price.
This quote here, it comes from a journalist who went inside these places. And it just paints such a grim picture, doesn't it? The animals are packed in so tightly, under so much stress, that their immune systems just get completely overwhelmed.
So here's the absolute crucial point. The constant flow of antibiotics. It isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. It's a structural necessity. It's the only thing keeping these sick animals alive long enough to make it to the slaughterhouse.
Okay, so that's what's happening on the farm. But how does that problem end up becoming a threat to you and me? To figure that out, we need to follow the path these superbugs take from the barn to our homes. And the journey is actually frighteningly simple. These resistant bacteria can travel through direct contact, through eating meat that isn't cooked properly, or even just by cross-contamination on your kitchen counter. And it's not just the meat. The runoff from these farms can carry these superbugs straight into our water. And look, this isn't some far-out theory. This is from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. They state that a full 3/4 of dangerous new infections spill over from animal populations to us. We're all worried about the next fast-moving virus, but a slow-moving bacterial pandemic is already well underway. But it goes even deeper than just the invisible bacteria. The whole argument broadens out to the actual quality of the meat itself. It really is a case of you are what it ate. And this comparison just lays it out so clearly. Meat from an animal raised on a pasture has a totally different biological makeup. It's higher in good stuff like omega-3s and vitamins. Industrial meat, on the other hand, it's loaded with stress hormones like cortisol, antibiotic residues, and things that cause inflammation. And this is the bit that really gets me. That chronic stress the animal lives through, it literally becomes part of its body, deposited right into the muscle. And those stress hormones, they don't just magically disappear at slaughter. They are, quite literally, what we end up eating. Now, when you hear all this, it's so easy to feel completely powerless, right? It's such a huge problem. But the sources are really clear on this. The biggest lever for change isn't in government. It's right there, on your plate.
And the solutions are things we can all actually do. The big idea is simple. Quality over quantity. Buy less meat, but buy better meat. Look for British labels you can trust, like the Red Tractor scheme. Or even better, go for outdoor reared or free range. And maybe the most powerful thing of all, just get back in the kitchen and cook from scratch.
Look, this isn't about telling everyone they have to go vegan tomorrow. It's really about reclaiming what's called food sovereignty. That's the power to know what's in your food,
where it came from, and why that's so important. It's just about making a conscious choice.
Because at the end of the day, every single thing we choose to buy and eat sends a message. It supports one kind of system or it supports another. Your food is never, ever a neutral act. So the real question this leaves us with is, what will your plate say about you tomorrow?